let us continue playing Dwarf Fortress, the Escape Fortress, and I have done some preparation work before we begin this. First off, we have the large wooden wall. The basic plan is to build the boat in the area here, leading probably all the way back here if I have this built properly and to size, but we're getting a long way ahead of ourselves, and for the moment I just need to build up a wall to hopefully hold back some of the tide, which will almost certainly start drowning our dwarves in short order. Other things I've done. I have set up the initial sort of entry point for the fortress. We're 2 Z levels up, so we should be safe from the waves, in theory. And I've got some wood clearing and some plant gathering jobs basically done for the immediate area. We've got plenty of woodland to play with, so we shouldn't have any problems with minimal food if it comes to it. Secondly, I've done what I usually do. I just basically map out the basics of the fortress, and we want a general storage area there and there. We do also want, because I haven't put one in yet, the trade depot, which will go there, 3 wide, and be indoors, because I always prefer to have my trade depots indoors where possible. We want to put some doors there, though, here and here, and probably just to cover this off as well, just so we don't get any birds or any other attacking nuisance pests coming down and interfering with our workshop area on the right, and down here the very basic living quarters area. We're not going to get too mad with this because of course we want to have everybody on the boat ideally. We do need a lot of wood, and I've set up a lot of jobs to go and build the initial wall, so let's get started then. Off they go. And now we should begin to see at some stage soon some tide. There we go, there's the first wave. Unfortunately, they're kind of building the wrong bit of this to test this, but, you know, it's fine. So in they go. This will probably cause some scattering of stuff here. The good news is, the wall does appear to be... Well, we'll see when the next wave comes in. Yeah, it's not going over the wall, so that will work. Once that's actually in and done, we'll be able to have our own area sorted out. Now, hopefully our miners are doing... Alright, what are our miners up to? Units. So we have you on construct building, we have you on construct building. Captain Shadowhawk Thunderbane, which I do need to rename actually. Where are we? Units. Customize. Because of course I put the wrong nickname on. Oop. VVI? VI. There we go. There we go. It's all better. We don't mind about that now. What we are going to do, though, is change your job's description to prevent you from... The downside is you are a building designer. This is actually your job. Alright, where's our other? Our other guy was Marishin, our metalsmith, our first mate, of course. So we'll go to him, and we're going to have him labour... Excuse me 2 moments. So apologies for that. Anyway, we're going to have you... We're going to turn off your other job's labour for building construction. Or floors construction at the very least, and construction removal. So hopefully you'll now get to work on actually getting our initial bit of digging done out. And I'm not prioritising getting the back area done. We're going to have to dig this entire area out though at some stage, just in order to allow us to have the ship be large enough. But we'll worry about that when it comes to it. Good news is... Seafoam. Okay, that's not so bad. Actually, I thought that was eggs or something like that. And hopefully somebody's now going to go and sort out our chicken farm, which I've got set up a couple of things here. One there. Did I build myself any nest boxes to start with? No, I didn't. So that's a simple carpenter's job as soon as we get started. The good news is that wall appears to be holding, which is awesome. And they can, of course, get round to it because they can go up and down the thing there. And the tide does not appear to go far enough in that it's going to bother us. What is bothering me is I've just noticed some things on the side. What are these? Dingoes. Dog-like creatures known to attack livestock. Okay. So our chickens are in trouble, but we should be fine other than that. The good news is our fisher dwarves have plenty of options to go and get some stuff, but that is a successfully constructed wall. Now I just need our diggers to go and actually dig some stuff out at this stage. In the meantime, everyone's just to hang out there. Look at the amount of fish that are available. Our fisher dwarves should be in business. So, now that that is done, We want to designate tree troppage of the interior area as soon as possible. Resume, and then we can begin the process. It's going to be a long process, this one, as we've already mentioned, but for now, we just want the area to be dug out, which my two guys are doing now. We'll get some stockpile sorted out, get everything away from the sea, from the sea air, and from there, should all be good. What jobs do you have, actually, out of interest? Who is actually hanging out here? We have... Yeah, gonna have to remember my controls again. I have played this recently, but still, it's amazing how quickly you forget things. There's no buildings. Where are we? There we go. Stray cat, because it's currently holding on the stray cat. Oh, I'm a Z level up, that's why. There. Right, so we have our Overmind, who is our carpenter, butcher, wound dresser, etc. I might actually give you an extra job right now, because we do want to get some trees chopped down, so I'm actually going to add wood cutting to your list of jobs. Dr. Dwarf is mostly just our crafts dwarf and other things here. So, on the basis we might as well go and get this done, I'm going to have you go for plant gathering. Become a bit of a herbologist. You are a brewer, swords dwarf. Not a lot of other reasonable skills, but I might have you start... Actually, who is our fisher dwarf? We do have a fisher dwarf somewhere. Long John Glod. What I want you to do right now is I want you to begin the task of fishing. Because we might as well see if we can get some fish sorted out. And if I can build a fishery early on, and in fact I can get this sorted out now, I'll just up the priority a bit here and get them digging out to the area down to the workshops. And down a couple of J levels here. Because it would be nice to actually have some food sorted out here, and one thing we will have plenty of are fish. So now I prioritise building that bit before they build any of the others. Which is fine by me. This is all be reasonably quick to build because it's all silt. The good news is we can build farm plots on that, which is always nice. And our first mate has now become a full-fledged miner. And once you get that area dug out for us... Okay, so we can now build our first workshop, and we do want to build a... Nope, not a workshop, we want a fishery. Not the usual first priority, in fairness, but still, we're doing this now. And for what pile we want food, and what we want here... Let's change the settings. We want unprepared fish, is the only thing that this stockpile has. So all the unprepared fish will go there, and that will now lead to our fish cleaner dwarf. So go and do that. Second priority, and I think they're already kind of working on this for me, awesome, is to get that carpenter's built. Because dear God, do we need a carpenter's. So we're going to build this out of chestnut logs, because that's what we have the most of. And pile wood. So that should get most of our idlers working, because at the very least I'll go and put wood on those things for us. So we have another position up there. Is that a different type of stone, or is that just... Bear with. No, for some reason it was coming up with something else there, but that's all clay. Which clay we can work with, actually. It's nice to know where some clay is, because we might be able to do some kiln work at some stage if we can find some metals. Not some metals, some bitmus coal or something that we can burn. In the meantime, though, we want to get the rest of our workshops done. So to start with, as I've said, carpenters, we're going to have a masons, which can go there out of chestnut logs. We want a mechanics workshop. Out of logs again. We then want to have probably... I've already got masons on the build. Crafts dwarf is probably a reasonable one to have right now, and we shall wait on the others, because what we want to do is, of course, want to build... Now we want to get our stockpile sorted out, really. And possibly our initial homes. So, let's wait for things to get built. So fishery is done. We want to process raw fish, assuming there are some fish being caught by somebody. Somebody needs to do that. So we don't have any... Nobody's caught any fish yet. I'm assuming somebody is going off for a fishing job because look at the amount of fish we have. Somebody should be fishing. Our grog master is not, but then he's the fish cleaner. He's not actually the... he's the guy who processes this all. Goodness is, we've got plenty of wood coming in because we managed to get some chopping done. And it looks like somebody has built that carpenters for us. So, awesome. Right. Priorities then. We want to build a nest box, but I think that might be a craft dwarf area. Probably is. So, okay. Beds to start with. Prioritize beds because that way is the first easy, happy thought that we can give everybody. Next up, this is plumwood barrel, which has water covering. Doesn't have anything in it. Why have we got a barrel in there? Maybe somebody was processing that fish. No, there's nothing there that's noticing. Okay, we'll leave that alone. Oi! Not sure I like this. Not sure I like this at all. There are a lot of dingoes there. Meanwhile, though, we have our first area actually sorted out, and in fact, it looks as if there's actually a hole at the top now, because otherwise this wouldn't have fallen down. Yeah, there's a... Okay, so that area has basically dissolved, and we'll need to put a floor in at some stage. Still, for the moment, though, we can get our initial stockpiles done, so we want to have a wood stockpile, at least to start with. I'm not going to get mad with this one because I know we're going to have loads of it, so let's actually have that towards the front. Pile wood. Since this is the focus of the fortress, we do want a large wood stockpile. Next up, we want to go and put down whatever else we might need. So I'm thinking stone, but of course I'll change this to just economic stone. Or useful stone. So metal ores, economic, but we're not going to have any of that. Actually, we'll allow clays. We'll just forbid the general basic stone for the moment because we won't need that massively in this fortress. At least not now. Bar and block stockpiles are always helpful to have early on, so I'll have a cup-free wide one there. Going to that. We'll then have a finished goods stockpile, which is the one that always tends to fill up the fastest. To there, we'll have a furniture stockpile. To there, and we'll just finish up the rest of this initial area with things we will need eventually. So leather, weapons, which I know we do have some actually. And annoyingly, I haven't dug out that last square, so an armor stockpile there. So that should hopefully get some people doing things. Meanwhile, splash. I want to save the food stockpile because I actually want them to dig out the area there first, but I need to know what you're actually up to. Okay, our miners are actually working, which isn't the end of the world because that's what I'm doing. We do need the beds. So even though I disagree with it, I'm going to allow myself to continue that. Meanwhile, I'm going to turn off Mr. First Mate Marishan's labours again and turn off all of his hauling duties because we need him to dig things out. We only have 2 miners, and one of those is currently our carpenter. There's the difficulty of having important jobs on at least 2 dwarves. I mean, the other thing we want to do is we want to see how wide we want to make this. So, knowing that there's now that gap of water back there, I think that should be wide enough. If I make the ship much bigger than that, it's just getting ridiculous. So I'm going to consider that as wide enough. We'll just remove that first one. So what we'll do is we'll dig all this out, and then what we will do is we will collapse it. This is quite a fun little trick I picked up, but it does cause some risks, which we will see in a moment. So once that entire area is dug out, we will then dig a channel up top and basically collapse the whole thing. Or at least that is the intent. We'll see how it actually works. So the area up there, as I've said, I've designated for trade depot, from the farmer's workshop, the still. So for booze, second most important thing you will ever need in a fortress, of course. other than dwarves. Dwarves and booze. Those are the two things you want if you want a successful fortress. Also, bang, 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 bang. Apologies. Right. We do have some white sandbags. And I have one additional point of stockpile, so I'm going to randomly put in a animal stockpile on the off chance I get some animals in trading. Normally I don't bother with an animal stockpile, in fairness. It's the least useful one, at least at the start. But at least have somewhere for it to go. And once all of that is cleared, I'm actually going to start putting in some proper flooring. But for the moment, we'll just enjoy the rain and the misery and get ourselves more or less prepared. I don't know why you're going out of the fortress in order to get the wood, because that's the whole point of having the wood stockpile there. Doesn't matter. So our mechanics workshop is fine. Unfortunately, our mechanic is, of course, our miner dwarf, who is doing a good job, actually. That now means I can get my farm and my food stockpile sorted out. Just for neatness, though, we'll get you to do this one first. Yeah, come on, resume. Okay, so this is our food stockpile. At least our initial food stockpile. This one we want to be focusing on seeds and berries and drink. So, none of that. Eggs are probably fine because we will have things there. So seeds, mill plants, cheese, lye, milk. Yeah, that's all fine. So I'm okay with all that. So actually now hopefully get some of the foods around. We do have some weapons, which are probably rusted by now, actually. Oh no, these are all our chestnut training swords. If I can set up myself up a small military, I can get those 2 swords dwarfs I have training, which is a bit early for it, but we do have them. And the more training they do now, the better they'll be later. Build workshop. Brewers. So the all-important still. This requires that, and the only thing this stockpile will have is a type of food. And it wants... Actually, no, it wants 2 things. It wants drink, and it wants seeds. Does it want seeds? No, it doesn't want seeds. Seeds want to go elsewhere. So this literally just wants the drink, and it wants the plants. So we will enable... Yeah, permit. There we go. So plants and drinks. And now, thankfully, Marriage and Flamebeard is going down and getting our way down towards our first habitat area. Because now, thankfully, we have some beds, and that'll be a nice thing to get started on. So let's see, what have we actually got here? We have some chicory, we have some finger millet. So we have some interesting things to try and make plants out of in a bit. That's a problem. That is a problem. Right. I'm going to designate this and dig up anyway, but let's just see. Yeah, okay. So here we've hit the aquifer, which is a shame, but that means we're going to have to dig out from here now rather than where we were. Still, it's a nice thing to know about this early, and I can always use it for wells. So, ignoring my plan downstairs, ignoring my downstairs plan now completely. Going to ignore that. So the downside with being on the coast, you're always going to hit aquifers. Next, we're going to set up our area here, and I'm going to make the rooms larger than I was going to, at least for the initial dwarves. Later dwarves will have to live in a dormitory. But the initial dwarves get the ability to have actual rooms, I think. Okay, dig all of that across. We are down on stone, of course, because I don't think we're going to get any, unless we find a way through the aquifer. There will be a way through the aquifer, there usually is, but that's going to take some finding. So in the meantime, we'll just dig that out. Okay, river is cleared. Fish are everywhere. Except, unfortunately, over there. And that still is done. We can extract from plants, but we can't actually brew any drinks yet because we don't have any. Actually, why can't we brew from drinks? That's a bit of a worry, actually. Do we not take any... Okay, status. I need to know the kitchen stocks at this point immediately. No, we have plump helmets, of course. Okay. Whew. Okay, minor panic averted. We do actually have plump helmets. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, we can brew. We can brew. Next thing we want to do, though, is we want to build some farm plots. Now, I normally build these 7 wide. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I didn't this time. So, I'm going to have to think about this a little. 2 wide, then. We're going to have our plump helmet farm. Second one there, and then I've got... Actually, I can make 3 of them 3 wide. These are our 3 main ones, and then 3 minor ones. But I tend to like these days just having 1 dedicated farm plot for each type of venom, for each type of ingredient. It makes me slightly neater when looking at it later. So this, for example, will be Shift Enter, and all seasons this will make plump helmets. Do apologise again for noise in the background if you're hearing that. This one will make sweet pods, which is the other major food type. And once I've got this will be probably dimple cups. Actually, no, not dimple cups. Dimple cups are one of the horrible things to try and make here. Quarry bushes aren't really helpful either, dimple cups, so we'll wait on that. And instead, we shall go for the rum. Because, of course, we need rum. And if I can remember what made rum in this game, that'd be awesome. I believe that is sweet pods, which I've already got, so... cave wheats for the... Well, then, so we have 3 basic farms there going off for those 3. Of course, that one's doing nothing currently because it's the wrong season for them. Meanwhile, our initial caravan is being flooded even further. On the good news, though, we now have some actual bed spaces, so... Bed. 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 I'm not going to build doors yet because in a 3x3 area you don't need doors to secure the rooms. Because they'll be 3x3. The basic minimum room size will actually cover that by default, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, all looks good. Let's see what else I can manage then. So, we now have a mason's workshop, and what we're going to do with the masons is not a lot, because I don't have any stone yet. This is going to be the... I'll stop shifting. Over here. Oh, it's because my focus is over there, that's why. And the annoying thing is I'm on the edge of the map, which is never a really good place to be. If you can avoid it, because it will do that. And I'll get annoyed by it. So, stone stockpile will go there. Next up, we want a mechanics stockpile to go here. But again, I can't build anything until we get some stone. We could do things with metals if we had the spare ability to do this, but... I forget what these are. I think these are under furniture of mechanics, so we'll just do a basic mechanical goods only here. And guess what I'm going to need when we get to the thing? Actually, if I block all types, allow... Yeah, just... Sometimes I get out of the word this game. Right. So, what we want to do is we want to forbid types and then find... mechanisms, but I'm also going to allow traction benches and tables, oddly. So that'll be pretty much it. That's entirely the 3 things that it will try and make there. For crafts dwarves, we do have rock. We can make some wood crafts, and I think we do want to build some nest boxes. 5 of them will do. I think that's more than I actually need, but we'll do that anyway. Next up, we shall build another workshop, which will be... Yeah, I think this is the wrong time for me to record at the moment. Apologies. So, yeah, I think we'll save the kitchen for a little bit. I like to build the kitchens a bit further down. We now have, actually, nicely, our extra farm plots for the 2 things we don't have, which is the one up there, another one there, and another one there. Okay. And once he continues work on those, oddly, it's not showing what's been farmed, which is a little annoying still. Either that or he's just resting there and having a break, which is possible. Okay, we can now build a trade depot in. So overall, we got this has all been fairly generic and how I would normally set up a fortress at this stage. Workshop, we've got a farmer's workshop to go there. This is just where we can get our milk and cheese conversions sorted out. And the good news is we now have some bedrooms. So let's actually go and assign these, shall we? Just to end up. So one there, we'll assign that to me for the moment. Assign that to the first mate. We shall assign this one to the Overmind. We shall assign this one to the Death Echo. We shall assign this one to Long John Claude. We shall assign this one to Diath, our good doctor. I need to set up the hospital actually at some point soon. And we'll say that's Pirate Uncle. So every one of the initial doors has their own room. I will put doors in at some stage, but they don't need them. Not especially at this stage. Meanwhile, our 2 miners look as if they're doing their things. The only thing I will probably do at this stage... Oh, actually, no, you're building the trade depot. And Lucan's come online because I haven't got Skype turned off. I've really been really expert with this video, haven't I? I apologise. Okay, so we are running out of seeds for that type of thing. Yeah, whatever graphics patch I'm using is not showing things as well as the others have done, so I might have to look into things. See if I can't work out a fix for it. Or just change it around so it shows things a little better, because normally the one I use does. Oh, actually it is. There's very, very slight greenery on the ones that are being used. Okay. Something I have to get used to, I guess. I might use so many storage items, actually. That might be it. I might not have any barrels. I pick the best times to record videos. Fortunately, this is the only time I can record this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the video early here. We're 25 minutes in. The fortress has begun, and we have a wall set up. We have not currently started building anything, but that will come in time. I think the next thing we want to do is get the area primed. So I'm going to actually prioritize that. Now we got our initial stuff sorted out. Prioritize building that, and then we shall see how things go. So I'm Shadowhawk 2012, and I shall say until then.